Ready to get the salt, Tasha?
I'm so ready to get salt, Haley.
All right.
Let's do it. So we are on season 1, episode 9. It's called Home.
We're almost in the double digits.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. That's a big deal to us.
I know. And this is actually like a pretty good episode.
This is where it goes back to the main plot line of what's going on with the boys and with Mary and John.
Yeah,
And
like all the way back to the main plot line, like all the way back to Lawrence, Kansas, all the way back to the plot line. Yeah.
All the way back to the house. And we first see Missouri in this episode. And
I fucking love Missouri.
Oh my
so
God,
much.
I love her so much.
I nicknamed her in my notes.
Really?
She's Mama Missouri.
Mom. Oh, I like it.
I call her Mama.
She acts like a mama.
I know. I love her so much. And she.
Don't you put your feet on my table.
Don't you cuss at me, boy. One thing I noticed, too, because this episode is called Home.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned last episode about how it's called Bugs. You're like, short and sweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like all one word.
Yeah.
I realized that when I was watching this episode and making my notes for our podcast. I was like, oh, they're all just one word.
Yeah.
I think Bugs probably just stuck out more to you because
it's Bugs.
Because it's your nightmare.
That is my nightmare. That's my nightmare. Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross. Like I said before, like you're going back to the roots of the show and back to the main plot line. It's a bit of an emotional roller coaster. It's a few like head scratchers where you're like, wait, what the fuck?
They're literally going back home.
Yeah.
The episode takes place within their childhood home.
Yeah. So we start back in Lawrence, Kansas with a woman unpacking belongings into a house. You see Lawrence, Kansas, and your ears go up and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Home?
Yes.
It is home.
We're back in Kansas. What's happening? And she's unpacking in a living room, and it's
not really showing.
So dark.
Yeah.
It like she's unpacking by lamplight. I'm like, why aren't you just turn on the fucking lights?
Apparently, that did not register to her.
Too dramatic. It was more dramatic to do it this way. But as she's unpacking, we see her like.
She's crying over a picture, and I think either she just got divorced or her husband just died.
Right, but we never find out.
No,
and it's weird because she also says later in the episode that she's there for a fresh start.
Yeah,
but we don't know why.
The daughter comes down and she's like, "Mommy, there's something in my closet," and that's when you're like, "Oh no,
oh shit!"
Like shit, son. So she goes up to the daughter's room to investigate, and the mom looks in the closet. There's nothing there.
Yeah, and she, like, walks in the closet, and she turns around, and it's dark behind her. And part of me is, like, expecting and waiting for something to jump out and, like, grab her. Mm-hmm. Because of the way that it's staged and the way that the scene looks, I'm just waiting for something to come out from behind her. But it never does. And she's like, see, there's nothing here. I told you.
Time for bed.
Yeah.
And the daughter is like, I don't like this house.
Yeah, she's definitely getting the heebie-jeebies from this house.
Yeah, and the mom's just like, you're just not used to it yet. I mean,
which is totally, like, that is exactly how I would have explained it to my kids, too.
Yeah.
Because if it's new and it's unfamiliar, it always feels a little off.
Yeah.
Until you get your surroundings and you're comfortable. But when the mom goes to leave, she's like, grab the chair. Don't forget to put the chair. So she, like, shoves a chair up underneath the...
Yeah, barricades the closet. I have never known any child to ask for me to barricade their closet.
No.
Like, that's a weird request.
Yeah.
So...
It makes for a very good dramatic effect, though, later in the scene.
Yes.
But as the mom is leaving, she goes back down into the living room, and she's still unpacking, and she's still going through this box by fucking lamplight, which it shouldn't irritate me as much as it does, but it does irritate me.
Well, because there's lights in the fucking room. Like, you have the switches.
Even if, like, old houses, I've lived in a couple that don't have actual lights in the living room. Especially because I've had a couple of houses that have fireplaces, and I've noticed it more with the houses that have fireplaces. There's no real, like, light switch to turn on a light in the living room, but That's what the dining room and the hallway and all the other rooms surrounding the living room are for.
Yeah. So she hears rattling and tapping.
And scratching and clawing.
And she's like, please don't let it be rats. And all I keep thinking is, you're going to wish it was rats. That's easy to get rid of.
You're going to eat your words, lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she goes down to the basement to investigate what's going on underneath them.
Mm-hmm. And all the while, like, we see her, like, be like, oh, fuck, I hope it's not rats. And then she goes down to the basement. And then we go back up into the bedroom where the girl's at. And we see the chair that the mom had just barricaded the closet with sliding away. Mm-hmm. And then we go back down into the basement with the mom. It's like a very back and forth at this point. And mom finds
She finds an old toolbox with mementos in it.
Pictures.
And they're pictures of John. And he is young and super happy. And I think when she's panning through, it shows like one of John and Mary too.
Shows one of John, Mary, and the boys.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of family pictures that they have that she found in this little box. And she flips one picture over and it says the Winchesters.
Yeah.
John, Mary, Sam, and Dean. Mm-hmm. Or Dean and Sam, or however it's put. But she's finding all of these pictures and stuff in this box, and then it goes back up to the girl's bedroom, and the doors are slowly opening, and then it goes back down to the mom going through the pictures in the box, and then it goes back up to the girl in the living room. It's like back and forth, bedroom.
But there's an apparition that appears in the daughter's closet, and it's just fire.
Yeah, you
like
can make out. Yeah,
and she screams.
You can make out a figure of a body.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all in flames. You can't see the body. You can't see. It looks like it's like transparent almost, or like invisible. But you can see the flames in the outline of a body.
You can see where the person inside the flames has the fire retardant suit on.
Yep.
I'm like, oh.
You can throughout the whole thing.
Very good deal of that.
After it just like it does the black cutout after the little girl screams, and it's a really good scream. That girl's got that fucking shit on point.
Yeah, it shows the mom screaming and slamming on a window.
Yeah, she's like beating on one of the top floor windows,
and then Sam like jumps awake.
Yep.
And Dean is like going through finding cases online, and Sam is like preoccupied with drawing this tree on one of the hotel little like note takers.
Right, and Dean's kind of irritated because he's trying to find them another job.
And Sam's just like,
"Can you?
Yeah, whatever, fuck ever. I'm trying to figure out where this tree is from.
Yeah,
like, just leave me alone for a second." And then he's like, "Wait, I got it. I know where it's from. Like this. Oh my god."
And they find a picture in John's journal.
Yeah, and it's the tree from outside their old house.
Mm-hmm. And so the only thing that he remembers from this dream, really, that is anything that he could put pen to paper and try and figure out where it came from, was the tree that he saw in front of the house when he sees the woman beating on the window.
Yeah.
So then he turns to Dean and he's like, I know where we have to go next. Like,
we got to go home.
Thanks for all of the research that you've been doing, but we need to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean does not want to.
Well, Sam's also having a hard time explaining what he saw in his dream.
And why he's having these dreams and where it kind of fits all together. Because Dean's like, why the fuck we gotta go home?
Well, he finally fesses up to seeing...
I have these nightmares. I've noticed. And sometimes they come true. Come again? Look, Dean. I dreamt about Jessica's death. For days before it happened.
Some people have weird dreams, man. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Like, and basically what he tells him, too, he's like, it's like verbatim, almost. What I saw in my dream and what...
And the blood on my face.
Right.
And everything.
All the flames and everything that I saw, it happened in my nightmares just like that.
Yeah, and he's like... What if the thing that killed Mom could be terrorizing this new family that's there? Like, what?
Yeah, he's very adamant. He's very adamant on maybe, because that was where the whole thing started. That was the reason why Sam is on this quest with Dean, because whatever killed their mom killed Jess, and now he's just pissed off and wants to figure it out. Well, now he's having these dreams of something happening back in their old house, and he's like, this is it.
This is how I figure it out.
It's got to be there. It's got to be the same thing. This is it. We have to go back.
And Dean is having a really hard time processing this, and he's like,
I mean, first you tell me that you got The Shining, and then you tell me that I've got to go back home?
Yeah, he's like, I already told myself I'm not ever going back.
He swore to himself he would never go back.
Yeah, it's
But
very...
he agrees at the very end of it. He's like, all right, fine. Like, we have to because you have such a strong feeling and you have these weird dreams. Like, okay, like, we don't have any other choice.
Right. And it just, there's a give and take and a push and pull, and you can tell that Dean is very...
reluctant.
He's got a lot of emotion surrounding all of this stuff, and he's not too sure. But he also remembers more about what happened that night than Sam does.
Yeah. Well, Sam was still a baby. He doesn't remember anything.
Yeah. So they finally end up making it back over there, and they actually stop at the house, like, instantly they stop at the house. And they go and talk to the mom. Her name is Jenny.
Well, he still doesn't know how to feel about the situation. Like, he's still just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
reluctantly walks up to the house.
Honestly, I did not know that her name was Jenny. I kept trying to figure it out for, like, the longest time, and I didn't know what it was until, like, the very end of the episode.
I caught it when...
Dean's like, I'll get Jenny. You get the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, her name is Jenny! And I wrote it in all, like, caps, like, yay!
I noticed it when they leave the house after initially meeting her.
But
Is
she,
when they
like,
first...
didn't introduce herself.
No, and... So... When they meet her, they're standing on the front porch and they're talking to her about, like, you can tell that Dean is trying to figure out, like, how to kind of skate around telling them who,
Like,
telling
why
her,
they're there.
Yeah, why they're there and telling her who they really are. And Sam is just like, I'm Sam. This is Dean. We're Sam and Dean Winchester. Like, we used to live here. And she's like, oh, I found some pictures. Because remember, she had flipped the picture over and saw their first names and their last name. But if you notice, when they're standing on the front porch, the backdrop is, like, waving in the wind. Like, because it's a picture of the street across, like, the houses and the trees across the street of where they're at. It's like a tree,
like the prop back.
and a house and another tree and the sky, and it's just a drop, like a backdrop. But you can see it like rippling in the wind as they're standing on the porch. I'm like, oh, you guys.
So she takes them inside so that way they can see the house.
Yeah.
And the first thing I see is this child who's like 2 or 3.
Yes.
In a fucking, like, playpen.
He's
like this little prison in the living room.
Barricaded in the fucking dining room.
It looks like it's through the kitchen into, like, a
He's like,
area.
juice.
Excuse you, sir. That's not how you ask for something.
No, and
he's a juice junkie. And,
at
like,
least
that's
he won't get scurvy. I'm like, what kind of mom are you? Scurvy? Really? You're worried about your child contracting, like, a pirate disease?
Yeah. That's where, like, they were stuck abroad for so long, and they didn't get the vitamin C that they needed, that they got scurvy. Mm-hmm. Like, you're so worried about your child. I know it's a joke, but, like, fucking come on. Lady, get your kid out of the fucking prison.
Let him be a child, please.
And he's always in it.
Always. Until he's in the fridge.
Until he's in the fucking fridge.
I mean, had he been out running around and getting a handle on his surroundings, maybe he wouldn't have ended up in the fridge, lady.
Yeah, so his name is also Richie, and the daughter's name is Sari.
I kept saying Ricky.
Richie.
I couldn't remember if it was Ricky or Richie. I'm glad that you nailed that one down.
Richie, and they had just moved from Wichita. And she says that they needed a new town, new job, and a new house. They needed a fresh start.
But we still don't know if it's because her husband died, or if it's because they got divorced, or if he was
like ran off with another woman,
terrible person.
We don't know.
We don't
Did
know.
He go to prison? Don't know.
She needed a fresh start,
and he's not there.
Yeah.
So they were asking about like how the house is doing, and she's like, "Well, it's an old house, and it needs, it has issues. There's get the salt. There's flickering lights. The sink's backed up, and rats in the basement." And they're like, "Well, have you seen the rats? Have you seen any rats or any indication?" She's like,
"No, I just hear the scratching."
No.
But their ears instantly like perk up because they are practiced in the ways of
the ghost world,
of the creep,
of the weirds and the monsters.
Yes.
And Sari, the daughter, is like, or Sari, is it Sari? I don't know. Sari.
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 Is it Sari? I think it's Sari. I think it's
Sari.
pronounced Sari.
I don't fucking remember.
It looks like it's spelled like sorry, S-A-R-I, but I think it's pronounced Sari.
But she asks if the thing in her closet was there when they were little.
And they're like, what's in your closet?
She said it was on fire.
Yep.
And they're like, oh my God, my mom was on fire. What?
Oh, weird. And Sam loses his shit when they leave the house.
Yeah.
He's like,
You hear that? A figure on fire.
And that woman, Jenny, that was the woman in your dreams?
Yeah. And you hear what she was talking about? Scratching, flickering lights, both signs of a malevolent spirit.
he's like losing his
fire.
shit. Yeah, he's losing it. And
so Dean's also freaking out because Sam's dreams are coming true. Like, Sam believes it might be the same thing that killed their mom and Jess. And Dean's just like,
Hold on.
a whole fucking lot for me to process because you are seeing things that you're not supposed to be seeing. You have psychic abilities, and this is really weird for me. And
right. And Sam is like, we need to get these people out of the house now. Like, he's fucking, like, straight up, like, 0 to 60 losing his shit all over the place. And
Dean's
he's like, we got to get him out now.
Well, and Dean's like, but how do you want to do that?
Yeah, we got to.
Without freaking her out.
Let's take a couple steps back there, Sammy.
You're at, like, a 10, 11.
I'm on an age of bring it down.
At least a 3. Dial it back there 20-25%, sir.
But you need to take about 20% off the top. But they're talking about, like, okay, so if this was just any other job,
how would we get them to safety?
What would we do? And Sam's like, well, or one of them says something about, you know, we'd figure out what the backstory was, but we already know what the backstory is because it's, like, our lives.
But
like,
do they really know all of the history regarding the entire situation? Like, that's also what Dean says. Like, how much do we really know?
Right.
And Sam, of course, doesn't remember anything. And Dean's like, well, I don't remember much either. He said he remembers the fire, the heat, and that he carried Sam out the front door.
But Sam doesn't.
Sam didn't know that.
Yeah.
And they both know John's story, kind of, that Mary was on the ceiling and whatever put her there was long gone by the time that John got up there to try and save her.
Right.
So they decide that they need to talk to John's friends and neighbors.
Yep.
But we only see the one person.
Well, because he gives that one person gives them a pretty good, like, another segue to go off of instead of just continuing to talk to a bunch of different people.
I didn't
like,
realize that the way they started their whole life with monster hunting, their family business, I didn't realize that John Winchester was considered a missing person.
I didn't either.
That someone had put out a missing persons report on him because he just grabbed the kids and fucking left.
Well, he stayed for a little while because he was able to
a little bit. Not long though.
He was able to get a hold of Missouri and talk to her.
But that was like days after.
But she also is the one that told him, yes, there are things that go bump in the night. Yes, there are creepy and weird out there. And maybe something else is what took. And he brought her back to the house. And she said, whatever was here was fucking evil. Like, it was bad. So he went to go find it. And so it was kind of Missouri's doing to why they are doing the things that they're doing and why the boys grew up the way that they did. Because she's the one that told him about everything. Yeah. But before they're able to go and talk to...
Before they even figure out it's Missouri.
Yeah, before they talk to the friend, I think it's a coworker because John was a mechanic.
I think he said they co-owned the business.
Okay.
But Dean tells Sam that he needs to go to the bathroom. But instead of going to the bathroom, he calls John. And he's like, Dad, this is what we're up to. I don't know what to do. And he's just begging his dad for help, and he's trying not to cry.
And he's so
the whole time.
He just wants him there to help him. He says, we're at home. We think we found the thing that got Mom. I don't know what to do. Just please get here. Please help.
And he does by the end of the episode, but Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, but we don't know that. Sam and Dean don't know that. Fucking bad parenting. Fuck you, John.
So it goes to back to the house. The mom got a plumber to check the drains because
her sink is backed up again.
He unplugs the disposal and
takes off the U-bend in the bottom.
But the monkey, you know those toy monkeys with like the
hand clapper, like the cymbals?
Yeah. That starts going off. And the guy's like, the fuck ever. Like, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah,
it's just a weird kid's toy. And he
He unplugs the power from the disposal. He checks the switch a couple of times just to make sure that it's not going to, like, turn on for whatever reason.
Yeah, he sticks his hand down and he hears something, so he pulls his hand out to, like, see, but then he fucking puts his hand back into it.
Nope.
And it turns on and
Yes, it does.
Eats his fucking hand. And the toy monkey starts going off again, too.
Yeah. Nope. No
and
thanks.
all I keep thinking is, this is why I don't ever like to stick my hand down into the disposal, ever.
Fuck out of here.
Nope.
Fuck out of here. Nope. If there's something in the disposal, I will detach the disposal and take it down and look in it that way. Fuck that. No.
So we go back to Sam and Dean after that, and they're in a mechanic shop that John used to either run or own with another guy. And we find out that John, like we said before, John is part of a missing persons case. And the dude doesn't register who they are because they're grown up.
Yeah.
But they're playing cops that are reopening the disappearance cases.
He tells them, too, because they asked, what can you tell us about John Winchester? And he's like, well, I remember he was stubborn. I remember he loved his wife and doted on his boys. Like, he was a very hands-on husband and father.
Yeah.
And he said that after the fire, he wasn't really thinking straight, and he blamed the fire on something, and he didn't ever, like, accept the fact that it was just faulty wiring, like what it was blamed on.
Well, I mean, he saw his wife on the fucking ceiling.
Right. I wouldn't have believed it either. But he told him, the co-owner dude that they're talking to, told John to go and get help.
Yeah.
And instead of talking to a psychiatrist or a therapist of some sort,
He goes to a palm reader.
he went to a palm reader, and that's where we meet Missouri.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, he also said that he started reading, like, the old books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. I bet you it was like lore and shit that he was going
Definitely.
through. Yeah.
And enter Missouri Mosley.
Yes, she comes in, and I fucking love her so much.
God, she's so much sass.
But they realize which palm reader it is because they're going through a phone book and at a phone booth because those were things still back then.
Yeah.
And so they're going through it, and Sam is reading off all of these palm readers that he's finding in the area, and he comes across Missouri, and Dean's like, wait, what? What was that?
Yeah.
Did you say Missouri? And they open up Dad's journal, and on the first page it said, I went to go see Missouri. Or I went to Missouri. Or something like that.
I went to Missouri.
And Dean had just always thought that he went to Missouri.
Yeah, to the state.
Yeah, not that it was a person. So they figure out that, this is probably the Missouri that Dad was talking about. And they go to Missouri.
Yeah. And she is, like, consoling this guy as she's, like, walking past and, like, exiting him out her house. Mm-hmm. And she's like, your wife loves you very much, and closes the door, and she's like,
poor guy.
She's banging the gardener.
Cold banging the gardener. And they're like, well, why didn't you tell him that? And she's like,
people don't come in for the truth. They come for good news.
It's like, oh, fuck, all right.
But she told John the truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, John probably badgered her.
Yeah. From what I see is she can read minds.
She can read minds and energies, and she can sense energies.
And she knows all about Jess, knows that John is missing.
After she touches Sam's hand.
Yes.
So they're sitting in the waiting room, basically, when the guy walks out of the house, and she's telling him, oh, yeah, your wife loves you, and...
But she knows exactly who they are.
She does. She's like, Sam, Dean, come in here and let me get a look at you. And just like
she tells Dean. She tells Dean that.
And you were one goofy looking kid too.
But she reaches out and grabs Sam's hand, and that's when she senses, and that's when she feels the energies. And she says, I'm sorry about your girlfriend, and your dad is missing. And Dean asks, like, well, where is he? Like, if you know all this, where is he? And she's like,
I can't just pull facts out of thin air. Like,
yeah, she's like, do I look like a magician? I can sense energies and read thoughts, but I can't just pull facts out of thin air. So they sit down, and that's when she tells Dean,
don't you put your foot on my table. And he's like, I wasn't.
I'm going to whack you with the spoon.
She's like, you were thinking it.
Yeah. And Dean's like, I didn't do anything. And Sam loves every second of it.
Oh, my God. He's eating it up.
He is so fucking amused by this because he's just like, oh, what? Yeah. It's great.
So she admits that she told John, like, what was really out in the dark, that she, like, I guess, opened the curtain for him.
Basically, yeah. And she tells the boys that John took her back to the house to try and sense, like, the echoes or the fingerprints of something that may have still be lingering in the house of the thing that killed Mary. Mm-hmm. And when Sam asks, like, well, what was it? You know, she didn't know. She just knew that whatever it was very, very evil.
We go back to the mom at the house.
And she's on the phone.
On the phone, and she hears something upstairs. And all I keep thinking is, does she ever fucking let the kid out of the playpen?
Right, because he's in the playpen again.
It's like a little mini baby pasture.
It reminds me of, like, the dog enclosures that you get for dogs.
A dog run. Like a little kennel.
Yeah, like, that poor baby, well, he's not really a baby. He's like 2 or 3, is still in this thing. And I swear to God, if I tried to put my kids in that at 2 or 3, they would be escaping motherfuckers.
My son would be screaming at me the whole time, and then he would figure out how to pick it up and crawl under it.
Yeah, my kids would be like... They'd be like fucking Tommy in the Rugrats, like with the fucking screwdriver in his diaper and popping shit out and getting out. But that's like what it is. It's like one of those runs that they put the babies in Rugrats.
Yeah.
That's almost exactly what it is. She's on the phone. Mom's on the phone with the plumbing company because they want her to pay for the damages to the plumber's hand.
Well, she's like, I can't afford a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't afford a lawyer. This is ridiculous.
Because they want her to pay for the damages to the plumber's hand. And then she hears like a great big crash come from upstairs.
Yeah.
And goes upstairs. And the little screws on the thing, like total Rugrats fashion.
Yeah, they come out.
Pop out, but nothing is there.
No, and the fridge pops open and there's a
latch comes, the baby safe latch opens, comes apart, and the fridge opens, and this juice fiending kid gets out of his
he just walks
cell.
Out of it out of his cell
and walks over to the fridge and sees the juice that is sitting in the middle of the fridge with everything piled up so perfectly along the sides.
My question is, why didn't he just like lean in and get it? But
my question is, who the fuck puts their fridge together to where everything is on the side of the fridges and the only thing in the middle is the fucking juice?
I think maybe the entity did that.
Okay.
Like pushed it away.
Okay.
So that way it was like the kind of like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom where it's like the one thing there and you're like, I need that.
This is what I see. This is what I need. That makes sense.
In my hands.
That makes sense.
But he climbs into the fridge, and the thing, like whatever it is, closes the fridge
aggressively, slams the fucking door
and
shut,
then locks the baby thing back in place. Yep. And Missouri, as this is happening, we go back to Missouri and we see her, and she says that she's been watching the house, and
she's very confused as to why the thing would be back now.
Yeah, she said there's been no freak accidents, no sudden deaths,
no red flags of any sort,
nothing. So why?
Yeah. And then, so after she gets her little 2 cents in about the house and that she's been keeping an eye on it, we go back to the house in the kitchen, and what's his name? Richie, and
it's gone, and Mom's freaking out.
Yeah. And she's running around the house like, oh my God, where's my kid? He's not in the fucking cell I left him in. Like, just drives me crazy.
She sees milk dripping out of the fridge at the bottom. She's like, oh my God. She goes over to the fridge and he's like, Mommy. Also, while this is happening, when Sam was talking to Missouri, he thinks that John's disappearance and Jessica's death is something starting. He doesn't think it's just happening. He thinks that it's the beginning of something.
Ooh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Ooh, good one. I like that. So after Jenny finds her baby in the fridge, there's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
It's just like how I never thought I'd say get your penis off the table. Like, it's just a parent thing.
When did you say get your penis off the table?
It was Osiris when he was like 3. He was just,
my God.
I had served lunch, and then I turned around and did something, and turned back around, and he's like got his dick out. I'm like, what are you doing? Get your penis off the table. And he's like, what?
So Jenny gets her baby out of the fridge, and Sam and Dean knock on the door at this point, and they have Missouri with them. And Dean, again, is trying to come up with some bullshit excuse about why they need to be in the house and why Missouri needs to be in the house.
Yeah.
And Jenny's like, well, now's not a good time. And he continues to press her like,
Jenny, it's important.
Give the poor girl a break. Can't you see she's upset? Forgive this boy. He means well. He's just not the sharpest tool in the shed. But hear me out.
fucking love her. But when Missouri talks to Jenny, she's definitely playing on the thoughts that Jenny has in her head about the house being evil. And
Yeah.
she's like, just let me in. You got to trust me just a little bit.
Just let me see.
Just let me come in and I think you know what I'm talking about when it comes to the things inside this house.
Yeah, you know you're uneasy. Mm-hmm. So Missouri goes and she's going around and she's like, there's a dark energy. Like, and it's based out of this room, and it's the room that used to be Sam's nursery.
If something's in here, it's going to be
it's from
based
here.
in this room.
Yeah, she says it's based from this room. Like, this is where the evil came from.
Right.
And Dean pulls out an EMF, and Missouri's like, amateur.
I know. What is that, an EMF? He's like, yeah.
Amateur.
Amateur. But
so, and then Missouri also says that the energy is different.
right.
It's not an it. It's a them.
Yeah, there's more than one. And she says that the thing that's there is not the thing that took their mom. And that all of these years ago, that what happened to Sam and Dean, it was a real evil that walked in that house, and it left
so evil.
And it left a lot of open wounds, and sometimes wounds get infected. Well, what she's basically telling them is that the wounds that had gotten infected, quote unquote, is it led in and attracted a poltergeist.
Yeah.
So now they have all of these different spirits that are being attracted to this house because of what happened to the boys so long ago.
Yeah.
And
a poltergeist it's a type of ghost or spirit that's responsible for like physical disturbances. Like things being destroyed or moved. But this poltergeist is intent on killing the family.
Right.
Like, it will not rest until the family is dead.
And poltergeist, like when you think of it, what a poltergeist is, like what you just described, is what people think that they see when they see a ghost or a ghost activity. But poltergeists are not that common.
No.
Ghost activity is something more... It's something different, something completely different, but people think that they need to see a poltergeist to be able to see a ghost.
Well, poltergeists are they're more intent on making themselves known.
Yeah, but
more harmful.
But they need a shit ton of energy to be able to move things the way that people think that things
Ghosts
need to be
are just
moved.
Ghosts, I feel like they're leftover energy that's not found its place yet.
Yeah. But Missouri tells them that they need to make these hex bags, basically is what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're making
that's
hex
what I
bags.
saw too. I'm like, they're making hex bags.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, it sounds kind of off-putting when you say hex bags, but they're doing things to heal the house.
They're cleansing, and they have to be put in certain places within the house and within the walls, so that way that the poltergeist can't come and like knock it over or empty it out or anything like that. So they put them within the walls.
And they have to work fast because Missouri says things will get bad
quickly.
Really quick.
Yeah. Like once it figures out what they're doing, it's going to get bad like shit will hit the fan. Like it's going to get
Literally.
Literally.
So they convince the mom to take her, or Jenny, is it Jenny?
Yeah.
Jenny.
Jenny.
They convince Jenny to take her kids to the movies, and they're like, once you get home, everything will be fine.
Yep, we're going to cleanse the house.
It's fine.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's fine. So they start to find the places to put the bags
within the walls.
Yeah. And the house is already picking up on what's going on.
It's like instantaneous. They're instantly being attacked.
Like
They're just
Sam's
tapping
knocking
on the wall. And the fucking electrical cord from a lamp like snakes across the floor and wraps itself around his neck.
Around Sam's neck.
Yeah.
And starts to choke him.
Yeah. And then Dean gets knives thrown at him from the entity, and Missouri gets like a dresser shoved into her. Yeah. Like it instantly knows what the fuck is going on and is trying to stop them for sure.
Yeah. And they get all of the bags in place, and Sam's fine. Like, he got choked out for a minute, but he's fine. Of course, Dean saved him.
Dean saved him, so it's fine.
Dean kicked a hole into the wall that Sam was supposed to put the damn hex bag in.
Yeah.
Like, took too long knocking on the wall.
Just get. She said work quickly.
Yeah. And Missouri's like, it's fine. Everything's cleared out. It looked like something left when they put all the hex bags in the right place.
Yeah, because the light flashed and...
Yeah, it looked like a burst of wind left the house.
Yeah. Something left.
But I don't feel like it really left. I feel like that was just a cleansing of the house, but it didn't get the poltergeist to leave.
Well, Sam feels it.
Yeah, well, Sam knows that it's not
gone.
Okay. It's not finished yet.
But Missouri tells him that she's sure it's all over, and Sam is kind of second guessing her, and
she's like, "Why? You feel something?" And he's like,
he just kind of, "No, it's not. Sorry, I'm second guessing you.
It's fine."
Yeah. But Jenny gets home, and when she walks into the kitchen, there's like shit everywhere,
trashed.
And Missouri does the same. Don't worry. Dean will clean this up. You get yourself a broom and you get yourself a mop and you start cleaning up. Don't you cuss at me, boy, when he's walking away because she's reading his thoughts. I fucking love Missouri. I love her so much.
But they leave, and all I keep thinking is bad idea. Bad fucking idea. And Sam had the same thought. Mm-hmm. So he makes Dean wait.
And they
watch the
stake
house.
out the house.
Yeah, so the mom Jenny goes to bed, and she's reading a magazine. She's like, all right, night-night, and she tucks herself in, and then the instant she, closes her eyes, the bed starts shaking.
Violently.
Like exorcism, shaking the bed.
Yes, and it, locks her in the bedroom, and that's when she starts...
Well, Sam and Dean are talking in the car, watching the house.
All right, so tell me again, what are we still doing here?
I don't know. I still have a bad feeling.
Why? Missouri did her whole Zelda Rubinstein thing. The house should be clean. This should be over.
Yeah, well, probably, but I just want to make sure. That's all.
And, Sam still has this bad feeling, and it's the exact same thing that he saw in his dream.
Yeah.
And it's the mom pounding on the window.
Yep.
She's pounding on the window, and Sam's like, oh, my God.
Yep.
And this is where I realized that her name is Jenny, by the way.
Right here.
My notes.
Yeah.
Caps. Mom's name is jenny.
Jenny. That's funny. You spelled Jenny with a Y. In my notes, I have Jenny with an I.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't spell any names with an I at the end except for
mine,
Haley, and Brittany.
Yeah.
It's a different Bethany.
Oh.
So, they're like, Dean's like, I'm going to go save Jenny. You save the kids.
Yeah. So Dean goes and gets Jenny, and he has to, beat the door down because whatever this entity is, it locks her in her bedroom.
Yeah.
And all the while, Sam
She's
is trying
like, my kids. And Dean's like, it's okay, Sam's
got him. And we see Sam's got the baby. He's got Richie?
Richie.
Okay. He's got Richie, and he goes in to get Sari, and there's this flaming figure that walks out of her closet. It's that energy, that flame, that person is there again. And so he kind of sidesteps into the bedroom and grabs Sari, and he's like, don't look at it. Takes him out, and he says the exact same thing.
That's what I thought. Oh, I was like, oh my God, it's the fucking beginning all over again.
Yep, he says the exact same thing that John says to Dean.
All right, Sari, take your brother outside as fast as you can and don't look back.
So as soon as he tells Sari that, take your brother outside as fast as you can and don't look back, the thing in the house just grabs him by the ankles and drags him back in. And so by the time Sari gets outside and finds where her mom and Dean are standing in the yard, Dean is like, where's Sam? And she says, he's still in the house. The thing got him.
Yeah. So as this is all happening, this thing is poor Sam. I know I give him so much shit, but he gets thrown around.
He does.
So much.
Poor guy.
He gets, almost every single episode, he either gets thrown into a bookshelf or cupboards or something.
This thing slams his ass against the wall.
Yeah, and against the cupboards. Mm-hmm. And against everything else. And then he is thrown against a wall and he's held up.
Yeah, he's pinned against the wall where he can't move his arms and he can't even bring his... It's my equivalent to it in my head if you haven't seen any of the episodes and haven't seen how a ghost or a witch or somebody is pinning somebody up against the wall, remember the Gravitron at the fair?
Yeah.
Where you stand on the wall, like the matted wall,
And it
the
goes
thing
faster and
spins
faster?
so fast that you can't like lift your arms up or anything. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like he's stuck on the Gravitron.
Greg told me that he used to love that when he was younger. And
I
he
did
would
too.
go on it like over and over and over again. And
I
I
did
would
too.
do it once, and then I would be so sick
I loved it.
afterwards. I hated it.
I would start I would stand on the walls and then I would like try and flip over so that I was pinned face forward. And then I would like lift my arms up and then they would get about here and they would go whap and they'd like stick up like upwards. And yeah, I loved
I
the
would
Gravitron.
go because my friends would want to go on it. I didn't want to go on it because I wanted to.
Yeah.
But Craig told me that he would like turn himself upside down.
Yeah, I did too.
Like, why? So when it stops, you can fucking eat shit?
I loved it.
No,
I loved it.
I did not.
It was like a force that wasn't myself that was controlling me.
Ugh. Oh, I see where you like your control thing now.
Fast forward to now.
Oh, Haley.
It all started
It's
with the
all
Gravitron.
starting to make sense.
Anyways, so back to the house.
Dean can't get through the front door to Sam to save
No.
him. So he has to like beat the door down with an axe
Yeah.
or a hatchet. It's a smaller. It's a hatchet.
It's what he was beating the holes in with
yeah. And
prior to this.
does Dean go to shoot?
Yeah, he goes. He makes it to Sam, and he sees Sam stuck against the wall, and he turns and he sees the figure on flames because the figure on flames starts walking towards them.
Yeah, and he
And
goes
so
to, like,
he raises
aim.
his shotgun that has the salt rounds in it
Yeah,
at
Yeah.
this figure, and Sam says,
No, don't!
What? Why?
Because I know who it is. I can see her now.
and right when I hear I know who she is, I'm like, oh my
dun,
god, it's Mom!
"Ah, it's Mary!
It's Mary!"
And so then her flames go away, and you see her.
And she's still in her nightgown.
She's still in her
But she's
nightgown.
beautiful. She's unmarred. She's not bloody.
She's
nothing.
not. No, there's no blood on her nightgown. She doesn't have burned skin. She's beautiful. And she goes and she
sees Dean.
She sees Dean and says, hi,
And then she goes up to Sam and she apologizes
she
to
says,
him.
I'm sorry.
he said, for what? And she doesn't answer him.
She just stares at him.
And then turns around and does that jolty ghost move that they had,
Like
the lady in
glitching.
white.
Like glitching.
The lady in white moved around like that too. So
Yeah.
you know that she's, that
Yeah.
spirit. And
But she demands she demands that the poltergeist.
You get out of my house. I let go of my son.
Yeah. And then she ignites and
Yep.
forces the evil out.
yep, she shoots up into flames and then she's gone.
And then she shoots him with
And-
the poltergeist.
Yep. And Sam, as soon as that happens, Sam is able to, he kind of takes a breath and he's able to be released.
Yeah.
He drops back down and he is control of his body again.
And then Sam says, now it's over.
Yep.
And that's the end of it. Everything's fine after that.
Well, that's the end of the Poltergeist. That's not the end of the show.
Well,
so
yeah. No, that's the end of what happened in the house.
the episode previous to this one with, last week's episode, we had gone through all of this crazy climax, and then we finally get to the end of the show, and it felt like it just, like the ending of the show wasn't very good.
It was almost like a balloon deflating, like just.
Yeah, it didn't. I did not enjoy the ending of that one, but the ending of this one, even though we know that the poltergeist is gone, Sam tells us it's over. We've seen Mom in the house.
I dropped my remote. I was like, what the fuck?
On this one?
Yeah, at the end of it, because I forgot that.
Oh,
I forgot about
yeah.
the ending.
Yeah.
It didn't. I haven't seen this first season in about a year.
This
'cause I
one,
usually rewatch it every year.
Mm-hmm. This one, when I watch it, it makes me just suck my teeth in and it makes me want to beat him with a bat. That's
Parenting at its finest, right?
not a Walking Dead reference. I'm just trying to beat him with a bat. Anyways, so Sam and Missouri are
talking,
they're having a little heart to heart.
and Jenny gives the pictures that she found in the old toolbox to Dean.
Yeah.
She's like, you should have these.
These are yours. Yep. And when Sam and Missouri are talking on the front porch. Missouri apologizes to Sam. And he's like, well, why are you apologizing to me? And she's like, well, because you could sense that it was still here.
And I couldn't.
And I'm sorry. And he's like, what's happening to me?
And she doesn't know.
She has no idea.
She doesn't know. But she does say that Mary destroyed herself to get the poltergeist out. It was to protect her boys.
Yep. And her energy and the poltergeist energy canceled each other out. And it was in protection of her boys.
Yeah.
And she says it in a way that's like, duh.
And then she kind of says bye to them, like, I'll see you again. Mm-hmm. I'll see you again.
And we get a nice shot of baby's ass going down the road.
Again. But it doesn't end there.
No, it does not. We see Missouri go into her house, and it sounds like she is talking to herself.
And she's saying he has such powerful abilities.
And how could he... I can't understand why he couldn't sense his own father. And the cameras pan over to her living room, and who the fuck is sitting on the couch?
Goddamn John.
John fucking Winchester.
God damn it, John.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
And she...
Like, what?
She even tells him, like...
John Winchester, I could just slap you. Why don't you go talk to your children?
I want to. You have no idea how much I want to see him. But I can't. Not yet.
Not until I know the truth. And all I keep thinking is, what? What truth?
Yeah.
And why is Mary apologizing? Like, what did you do? What did you do?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that's how I talk to my dog.
What did you do?
What did you do?
Yep. I say that to my dog, too. And I always know it's her because she won't look at me.
That's how Garth is.
She won't make eye talk. Well, my dog is your dog's mother. So.
I know. Like mother, like son.
Oh, my God. But no, so... when you first see it, it's like, not until I know the truth. Oh, okay, so he wants to know what killed the mom.
Yeah.
And in turn killed his son's girlfriend. Like, oh, that's why.
But why does his son have these abilities?
And why can't you go and talk to him just yet? Like
what do you need to figure out?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot that happens in this
Well, it kind of
episode.
plays into, is it the end of the season?
When what?
When John dies.
It's either in the end of this season or it's in the beginning of the next. I can't remember.
He tells Dean
why,
like what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it like rocks Dean's whole world.
Well, yeah,
it would rock my world too. Dean would rock my world.
Dean could rock my world.
I would let you, sir. Just fuck it up, fuck my whole world up.
But yeah, so and then that is the end of the episode.
The end. It's not baby's ass. It's a dun dun dun.
And after all of this shit, we know why the boys are on the quest that they are. We know that they're looking for their dad. We know that they're also searching for the thing that killed their mom and killed Jess. We are knowing all of these things, but all the episodes leading up to it, like it was like find dad, find dad, find dad, and then the episode started to be like, well, hunt evil, hunt evil, hunt evil, and then all of a sudden John comes back. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck? And it just pulls you right back in.
Well, and now it's like, John's like, I don't want them to find me yet.
Yeah. And
Not
now
yet. Like
John is on his own separate
hiding
quest.
from them.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not trying to be found. No. He's actively not trying to be found.
No, he knows where his kids are at, but he's making it a point to not have them know where he's at. So.
Man, I fucking love this show so much.
And that concludes it for this week.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Where can they find you, Tasha?
They can find me on the Twitter at GetTheSaltTasha. And they can find us on the Twitter at _GetTheSalt. Mm-hmm. Where can they find you, Haley?
I am on the Twitter as Get the Salt Haley. And we are on the Facebook as Get the Salt, a Supernatural Podcast.
If you have a question and you don't want to reach us on either one of those platforms, you can also email us at podcastgetthesalt@gmail.com.
There you go. And really, truly, if you have any questions about any of the episodes, we will, like, if you want
Reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out to us on Facebook, on Twitter, on our email, and we'll try to answer them at the best of our abilities. And if anything, it'll just turn into a really cool conversation, like how you guys felt listening or watching the show, how you felt listening to our show.
If you want to give us any sort of
pointers
or positive feedback, if you want to sponsor
constructive
us.
Constructive criticism. I will not accept anything but constructive criticism. Thank you very much.
Don't message us being douchebags. It's not nice.
No, it's not.
This is 2019. Let's be nice to each other.
Let's be good people. Let's be nice ladies. But yeah, anyways, we will be back next week with episode 10. We're going to be in double digits next week.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's a huge deal.
I'm really excited.
Me too.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.